What's up? I'm Wally, and I drove home 5 miles over the speed limit after watching this movie. Today we're talking about the film F1 the Movie. F1 the Movie is an Apple Originals film. It stars Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem, Kerry Condon, along with Damson Idris. We'll start with the non-spoiler section of this movie first. This is certainly a movie, and what I mean by that is it's a film that draws people to the theater. I'm not a racing fan at all, but just the thought of Brad Pitt driving a really fast car on an IMAX screen, that was enough to bring me in. I think that this movie is a no-brainer for F1 fans or racing fans in general. If you like cars at all, you're gonna get something from this movie. I'm not sure how true it is to F1 and the rules and the cars and whatever, but it did seem to pay good respect to the details of the sport. If you have an IMAX screen near you, I think that's the way to watch this movie. I enjoyed this film a lot more than I thought I would, and I think you will too. We're now moving into the spoiler section of this video, so those of you who have not seen the film yet, please find your way out. First off, I wanted to talk about the IMAX format for this movie. It was a little odd because I think that 100% of the scenes were shot in the IMAX ratio. I'm not sure how much of this film was actually filmed on IMAX cameras. This may have been one of those like filmed for IMAX movies. However, that being said, it was still visually striking and the sound design was incredible. Hans Zimmer brings his best yet again, and he does this thing where his music just like drives the movie by itself really, and you don't even notice that the score is there because it gels so well with the film. Along with the big beautiful screen and the amazing score, the movie was just a spectacle. It kind of reminded me of the recent Mission Impossible movie where it was just huge. It was just a huge film. It's funny how Apple just throws a ton of money at their original movies and films, and for this, it actually paid off. The story of this film is pretty decent. It's not amazing by any means, and again, to relate it to a spectacle like Mission Impossible, you don't go to the theater to watch this for the story. As I said, I just wanted to see Brad Pitt drive a fast car, and that's kind of what you get here. Some of the plot confused me a little bit. I definitely don't think that it's realistic for someone to basically walk on to an F1 team. Again, I'm not familiar with the sport in any sense. I have some friends that talk to me about it, but other than that, I'm not sure of the history of it, so maybe that's happened in the past. I did find it funny that JP and Sonny basically spent the entire movie kind of fighting with each other and crashing their cars over and over again. I was kind of asking myself, are these guys really pro drivers? JP is played by Damson Idris, who I've never seen anything before, but I really enjoyed his performance in this one. Brad Pitt plays Brad Pitt in this movie, so you know what to expect. Kerry Condon was excellent in her performance as well, and I love her in all her roles. And Javier Bardem playing Ruben was as charming as ever. This was quite the ensemble cast, and I want to say that Damson Idris really stood out amongst the crowd. He played a really good kind of younger dude who was more focused on his image than he was the actual sport itself. I think that this is a pretty familiar plot where, you know, you've got this young hot shot who doesn't really know what he's doing and is focused on the wrong things, and you've got this older, wise guy that teaches the younger one the way. It wasn't particularly unique, but I do appreciate how Brad Pitt and Damson went about it. Now, as far as Formula One goes, I am not the best source for any kind of information. I only have some friends that watch it occasionally. The only thing I've ever seen about F1 cars is MKBHD's video on F1 and the tech that kind of goes into these vehicles. I really appreciate how the film kind of handheld the audience a little bit as far as some of the more particular rules go, for example, the tires. I also did recognize some of the bigger names of the real drivers that were included in this film, and I appreciated that as well. After all the headbutting and fighting and crashing, I think that this movie actually wrapped up quite nicely. The ending sequence was actually so good that it pushed it half a star rating for me. I really enjoyed the kind of hero arc that Sonny had at the end of this movie. It definitely kind of hit me in the feels and like made me happy, gave me a little bit of goosebumps, etc. The one thing I will say that was a bit of a negative was the product placement in this movie. It was very clear and obvious that Apple was trying to show off all their products. As a tech guy, I was very distracted by the giant Mac Studio connected to the 2 or 3 Pro Display XDRs. All the phones in the movies were iPhones, all the laptops laptops were MacBooks. Like, come on, Apple, you don't need more advertisement. Now, I understand that F1 has sponsorships and there's product placement everywhere in the sport. However, it did take me out of the film when JP was talking to his mom, and in between them is a giant Ninja blender facing directly towards the camera. Overall, this was an excellent film. In IMAX, the experience was incredible. The whole theater was shaking with the sound of the vehicles, the Hans Zimmer score. The acting was all really good from the main performers. The story was pretty good, but it was the third act of the film that actually brought it home for me. I gave this film a 4.5 on Letterboxd. I had so much fun with this one, and again, as a non-racing fan, I think that there's something here for everybody. So if you have an IMAX theater near you, go check this out while it's still playing. I'm curious to see if any of you guys dislike this movie for any reason. I want to know what F1 fans thought of this film. Definitely let me know your thoughts and argue with me in the comments.